Good morning. Well, I'm here with my good friend Jennifer Edwards from Direction LLC, and we're talking today about business and entrepreneurship. I'm Jamie Miller. I own J. Miller Law Firm. I am an attorney. This video is obviously not legal advice. We're just having a conversation and talking about business.
So Jamie reminded me, which I totally forgot, shame on me, that this week is?
It is the Global Entrepreneurship Week in Tulsa, and also this month on the 30th is Small Business Saturday.
Cool, huh?
No.
So this is great timing. So one of the things that Jamie and I like to do is we just kind of like to bring up a subject and then talk it through. And if I have questions that I have about it from someone who's not an attorney, then maybe you will too. So this time I think we're going to talk about partnerships. So Jamie, tell me why we would do a partnership as opposed to a sole proprietor.
Sure. So a partnership, so you could do, for example, a multi-member LLC. So you could have a partnership that way. And a reason to do that would be if you want to be in business or have a joint ownership with someone else. So if you do that, it's really important to set out in writing up front your expectations for how that's going to work, what would happen if someone would want out of that partnership, if someone passed away, if someone wanted to sell early. Even if you are the best of friends or family members, I see this a lot, people wanting to do handshake deals because they're so close. And my feeling is, because you are so close, honor the relationship and make a smart business decision and set out how you want it to work in case you ever do disagree.
I really like what you said, honor the relationship. Because honoring the relationship is done in lots of ways, and going into business, oh my goodness, I have heard so many bad stories about families breaking up. In fact, my own family, years ago, this happened. And it's about honoring what you already have and love, rather than it being, ooh, it's too uncomfortable.
Right. Yes.
So can you speak to that uncomfortableness? How do you
Sure.
remedy that when you're sitting down?
Sure, it is. No one likes to think that something will end. People, when they enter into marriage, no one wants to think about divorce, so they don't do a prenup. But if you're entering into a business relationship, I think it's a good idea to anticipate how it might end, and it doesn't have to end badly, but people's lives change and evolve, and also tragedies happen. So to have the conversation, if X happened, what do we want to happen? If Y happened, how would we want this to be handled? And it's not an adversarial conversation, or it doesn't have to be, but it's just thinking through all the different scenarios and how you would want that to be addressed. So then later, you're not having to have other family members or your estates or each other or a court decide the situation for you.
Because the worst thing would be if the court was making a decision.
Right. You didn't involve the court in your formation, and you probably don't want them involved in your dissolution or your disagreements. It's also far more expensive to go that route. I work with a lot of business owners in a preventative capacity because it's one of the things I enjoy, planning and trying to avoid surprises. And it's also less expensive than if someone calls me after there's an issue. So I'm trying to get the message out to business owners to set your business up properly from the start, have contracts that are going to be legally enforceable, and come to an attorney before there's an issue, if possible, because it really will save you money in the long run. And I can work with you in a partnership capacity. It doesn't have to be there's an issue.
Oh, that's good, because we only think of attorneys typically in the worst case scenarios.
Right.
That something terrible has happened and now we have to involve an attorney.
Right.
And this being on the forefront, you get the hardest part out of the way in the beginning, and then everything else is just a business agreement.
Right.
Where we don't have to guess what the other person was thinking.
Right.
We know what they were thinking because Jamie sat down and asked you all the hard questions from the forefront.
Yes. It is much, if there's nothing in writing or it's unclear, much harder years later to come back and say, well, that's what I meant, or that's what you said, or that's what I remember. Just get it all out there in writing.
Yeah. So what are a couple of the questions that you might ask that you think people are the most concerned are going to be combative on the
Sure.
forefront?
Sure. If you're in business with someone else, let's just say two friends, and they're both perhaps they're married. So if one partner dies, do you want to be in business with that deceased partner's spouse? Probably not. But they may have a different feeling about that. So maybe that person is somehow part of the business, maybe they're not. Also selling, how do you want to talk about valuing the business? How do you want to let people to leave? Do you want to buy their share back? Those are mostly the things. It's mostly about leaving or disagreements, especially in a 50-50 partnership, but there's no tiebreaker.
So when a partnership is forming,
Mhm.
if you were going to give 3 top
Mhm.
most important things from a legal standpoint
Mhm.
to do before, like non-negotiable, these
Yeah.
are the things that Jamie Miller says you gotta do.
Sure.
What are those 3 things?
So structure your business in writing. Consider it doesn't have to be a 50-50 partnership. It could be 51-49. That would maybe cause some issues but eliminate some others. And a buy-sell agreement as part of your written documents.
And those can be tricky.
They can
All
be
3
tricky.
of those issues can be
Yes,
very
yes.
tricky. So you don't probably want to go and do a Google search
Right.
and just find some random sample
Right.
that was on some random site.
Right. The internet is great for a lot of things. I would say it's not great for legal advice, but then you don't have a relationship with the forum that you found on the internet that you can then go back and ask, what did you mean by this? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So those 3 things are her biggies, and I would suggest that you follow her advice because this is not legal. But these are her pieces of knowledge that she has been through, I'm assuming,
Yes.
lots of times,
Yes.
and you've seen the worst and the best.
I have, and this month is also my 5-year business anniversary, and I started my business
Woohoo!
from scratch, and I have a real heart for entrepreneurs. It is scary, it's not easy, and I know there is a temptation to try and do everything yourself to save money, because I have done that, but there's a point where it makes sense to outsource things, like legal issues, taxes, computer issues, things like that. It will allow you to do your job and have someone else do their job as well.
Well, what I love about what Jamie and I both do is that we both have a heart for entrepreneurs. And I just want to help people. And she got into this business because she just wants to help people. We both want to see entrepreneurs succeed. And that really is the whole point of us getting together and doing these videos. I am a business consultant for startups over the age of 40. I love helping those folks who have probably been corporate for a long time, and they've saved up their money and they have made the decision that they've lived more years than they have left, and that they do not chase this dream, this is their last chance. So those are my favorite people to work with. Jamie, do you have any favorites?
I like everyone's from starting a business to selling a business and everything in between. So.
Oh wow! So pretty much, if you have anything business related, Jamie's your gal. All right. Do you have any last parting words of wisdom for Entrepreneurial Week?
No, just it's scary, it's exciting, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Just take all the steps you need to take and talk to people you need to talk with, whether that's Jennifer for your business coaching needs, or whether it's me, or whether it's someone about your bookkeeping and your accounting. Get out there and do it and get the right advice.
Awesome. Well, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.